welcome to my channel. My name is Alex Alexander, also known as the Hi Yella Bella, and this is my first video here on YouTube. I want to make this kind of an introduction to get you acquainted with who I am and what I'll bring to you. I am a lifestyle blogger. I am a photographer, graphic designer. I am also a performance poet. That has been my ride or die claim to fame for as long as I can remember. That's a huge part of me and who I am. But this lifestyle blogger thing is my newest venture. 2016 has been really intense so far, and it's brought on a lot of new opportunities, as well as a lot of new trials for me, just as a woman, as a black woman. I don't hear a lot of voices similar to mine. I don't hear a lot of stories that are similar to mine. And variety is the spice of life, but sometimes I really want to relate, and I also feel that other women like me would like to relate also. You know, there are tons of stories that are not being told, and there are lots of stories that are being told that are just overkill. And nobody speaks on the triumphant woman who sometimes sees herself as an underdog, who also tries to be a pillar of grace and style and love and hope for humanity. Nobody really talks about that woman who tries to defy the odds and remain whole in the process. I know that's kind of the long way around it, but in shining light on some serious topics, I also hope to bring a voice to, you know, my sense of style, my aesthetic. I am really into beauty. That's always been a thing of interest, although it hadn't been applied to me for some time. I always enjoyed applying my aesthetic on subjects, on style clients, whatever the case may be. It's only been within the last 5 years that I've really tapped into my femininity. I've always been kind of a tomboy. Being part of the LGBTQ community, I really have just always been some sort of queer, and my style really reflected that. In 2010, I'd say, I kind of came out of the closet as bisexual. I have always been queer, but that was around the first time that I tapped into the hetero side, and certain things about me were heightened. My breasts, my hips, my curves, they seemed to be something to enjoy. Not that they weren't when I was with women. I just kind of was a little more subdued. I was a little more subdued, no pun intended, but I did gear towards the baggier side of fashion, more casual. But now I just like to embrace the inner drag queen in myself, and embrace my femininity as a whole. So I'd like to talk about that as well. I hope that makes sense. I know that there's a lot of women who just look like they've been slaying since the day they were born, who have a similar story, navigating through the labyrinth that is women's fashion. And as a plus size woman, honey, that is no cakewalk. You know, they don't make cute clothes for us. They are starting to. And I'm so grateful because due to some really thoughtful designers, you know, I've been able to find my style in the stores. Like, you know, I don't have to spend an arm and a leg asking somebody to turn this whole bolt of designer fabric into something really trendy, or I don't have to cover myself in tarps and put a belt around it and hope that my curves are accentuated. There are designers that are really in tune to the female body and the plus size silhouette. That's really exciting. If you're still watching, I hope you see where I'm going here. I'm just weaving in and out of certain topics that I plan on touching base on as the days, weeks, months go by. Like I said, I'm a performance poet, and that's been a huge part of my life since I was at least 10. It started with a journal that I had to keep for school. And that journal was a look journal, and all the things that I couldn't see, I imagined and elaborated upon, and those things turned into poetry. And from there I discovered my flair for writing. My parents discovered it, and they were deep topics. Some of it scared them, and they were like, you speak as though you've been here before. I got that a lot. I had an old soul, and I really expressed that early on in my writing, and I still do. So one thing you'll also see, especially with National Poetry Month coming up, is poetry. I like to call it front story, back story, where I'll perform the poem for you, and afterwards I'll give you a brief backstory on its subject matter, which I think is something that does not get done. People like to disclaim their poems at the open mic venues or on stage, wherever, and after they disclaim what they're going to say, you almost don't want them to say it. Excuse me, you almost don't want them to perform because they've already explained the hell out of the piece. So this front story, backstory series will be the modest version of that, where I'll just go straight into a piece, and at the end I'll reward you with a little backstory. In case you're wondering, well, where did she come up with that? I'll talk about relationships and what they can do to you. I have been in a relationship for the past going on 4.5, 5 years maybe, and it's with a best friend turned partner, and it's a wonderful experience if you're ever blessed enough to find love. But you better just be ready, because love ain't all it's cracked up to be. Love comes with so much baggage and so much responsibility. I feel like being in a relationship is the closest thing to being a parent. You're responsible for someone else's life, happiness, and well-being. Not completely responsible, but you do play a huge role in their happiness. Your aim is to bring them peace, but at the same time, you've got to be healthy enough to bring them that peace. You have to find peace within yourself, and once you aren't able to do that, it becomes an uneven playing field for the both of you. One is giving more than the other, and vice versa, and it becomes a big gray mess. But when you both come to one another with cups as full as you can muster up, that 50-50, that those two, how do I put this? Those two vessels become one, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But there will be times where one of your vessels is emptier than the other, and you have to pour from yourself into theirs. And that's a very rewarding experience to be the difference for somebody that you care for very much. And I'd like to talk about, the balancing act. And my partner is also a performer, so we'll talk about those ego trips and how it's best not to be your partner's fan. It's best to be their number one supporter, but you don't get starstruck. Don't do that. Oh God, don't do that. That gets old quick, really quickly. I'll talk about the importance of the modern day friendships. Social media has made it so that we're so used to being attached to people electronically. We feel like if we can reach them here, there's no need for this in the flesh back and forth that is so important. People rather text than talk. People would rather type than write. I can't remember the last time someone wrote me a letter. I can't remember the last time I wrote somebody a letter, but that humanness is missing and lacking, and it is evident in the modern day friendship and relationship. We treat each other like hashtags, or trending topics instead of permanent, dynamic human beings. And that is such a shame. So if there's anything that you'd like me to touch on, if you're interested in where you think this channel is going, I don't know, this is my first go at it. I'm sure things will be said. Like I said, no topic is off topic. If you're interested in where this is going, please subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for videos, please let me know in the comments below. I look forward to seeing what this YouTube journey has in store for me. I really, my comfort zone is me lying in bed after a long day, tuning into my favorite beauty bloggers and what have you, with a glass of wine or hot tea, and just tuning in to life, to advice, to, I don't know, people just living. And I think that's really exciting. So if I can be any part of that, if I could be involved in any way, I'm excited for that, and I hope you are too. Again, my name is Alex Alexander, and I am the Hi Yella Bella. Please stay tuned for more videos. Please subscribe and join me for my written blog on www.alexalexanderworks.com, and I will see you soon. Bye.